All right, chances are, unless you're living under a rock, you're probably seeing a lot of posts online about Bitcoin. Finally, it's kind of starting to come into the mainstream. We see that commodities trading has just now recently been rolled out, and that's going to be expanding into December. And one of the debates that keeps coming up in a lot of forums, and if you're listening to Bloomberg or the news, is whether or not Bitcoin is a bubble. There's a lot of reasons to argue as to why it may be a bubble. Of course, an understanding of the blockchain technology and also, basically the instability or the inability to really trust fiat currencies is another counteract towards whether or not Bitcoin is a bubble. Now, I don't really want to spend a lot of time, debating whether or not Bitcoin is a bubble or not. It may be, and maybe not. At the end of the day, I think there's a lot of industries and technologies and money in general that has been made in bubbles. Everything from the housing bubble to the tech bubble. The internet did not go away just because there was a tech bubble that popped. So maybe Bitcoin's a bubble, maybe it's not. Maybe this is a currency that ends up being an extension or even a replacement for a lot of the fiat currencies that are currently in place around the world. But the one thing that I keep seeing is, there's this thing, well, we can't attribute it to any value or any hard commodity or asset. So I was in a forum on Facebook, and this is what one individual posted. I took it out of Facebook just to protect the individual's identity. But he says, I do not understand Bitcoin, or I do understand Bitcoin rather, but what I don't understand is its value. As soon as someone says this has no value, it has no value. Simple as that. It's not something you can hold like gold. It's not money like a paper bill or a coin. It doesn't exist. Yeah, I'd like to ride this market as long as possible, but I don't see it lasting like people say it will. Not a chance. However, the interesting thing about this is the one thing that this individual has misunderstood is really how monetary things work. The reason that things have value is because the market dictates that they have value. And we're seeing this played out in Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not, like he says, it's not physical. But something being physical does not necessarily make it value. I mean, I can go outside and pick up a handful of dirt, and I can touch it, I can feel it, but that doesn't make it worth anything at all. So again, you have to understand that when it comes to monetary elements and value is dictated by a market. It's not dictated by the commodity itself. I'll give you a good example of this. So this is a painting done in 1977, and it sold at Christie's for $32.1 million. Now, most of us, if we walked into a thrift store or a yard sale and saw this painting, to the untrained eye, we might pay maybe 10, 20, maybe upwards of $50 just because it's large in size. However, there is a market that basically attributes value to this painting. And to the right market, this painting is in fact worth $32.1 million. So again, what you're seeing now with cryptocurrencies is you're seeing a market that is actually dictating and demanding the value. Now that market could change. Something could shift the market sentiment, and in that scenario, then you could see basically a pop. But that's really what I perceive is going on here with Bitcoin. It is valued so highly because people are willing to pay that much for it. And until that stops, it's probably going to keep going up. And also, unlike existing fiat currencies, which can be printed out of thin air, which do lose their value over time, the one thing that Bitcoin does have for it is finite. There is a finite amount. And we're still pretty far off from reaching that point.